Welcome to the Noona Business Podcast, episode 19, Boys Over Flowers, part 2, with your hosts, Becca and Megan. Well, we've called him a lot of things so far: a dum-dum, a dodo bird, a psychopath, a nut bowl, and a sweet little puppy. And believe it or not, we still have more things to say about Lee Min-ho and Boys Over Flowers. Have you ever received a necklace that doubled as a threat? Gotten amnesia and forgotten the love of your life? Almost drowned in a kiddie pool? Well, if so, this drama is still for you, because all of these things happen in the second half of Boys Over Flowers, and we dig it. So grab your fancy shoes, your suitcase, and a bento box, because we are going for one heck of a ride. That's what you're in for today on Noona Business. Guys, I'm so sorry. We just started this podcast and talked for like a good 5 minutes, getting into some pretty deep stuff, and I realized that Becca is a dum-dum, and I had my microphone on mute, so I am very sorry.
It's okay.
We're gonna cover it again.
I love a fresh
ask
start.
me your question.
So my question for Becca, which she's gonna be really surprised to hear, is how she felt about seeing so many bare knees on the BBMA's stage yesterday. Because if you've listened to previous podcasts, specifically about BTS, Becca does not appreciate the ripped jeans look.
Here's the thing: they pulled out their religious pants. They were holy.
I just spit all over the microphone. Thank goodness it's a
second time around is better.
It's even better. Yeah.
I had a little more time to
you.
think about my answer.
Yeah.
It was fine. It was fine. I feel like Korean culture in general, and it might even be the culture, it might just be, again, it's so crazy between boys and girls. Boys are never, like, it's like, oh my gosh, they showed me their abs. Girls, I see
seriously.
your entire leg
Your
up to your,
midriff
like,
all the time.
you know, like up to your hip bone, and it's like no big deal. You're just, everybody knows what your legs look like.
Yeah.
Boys are shocking when that happens.
Yeah, it's like you've hidden your stomach from me for so long. And then I feel like, okay, can we talk about the abs thing?
Yes.
So we were just saying before we started recording, we're going to do a whole wrap up of BTS with
next
the comeback and the BBMAs.
Because they're going to be on Ellen next week.
Tons
at the
of
end of
appearances
this week.
still this week.
And we don't want to jump into it before we finish seeing the press tour.
We want a full review.
Right.
So we've been working on it, believe us.
Which I hope you guys appreciate, because so many people are jumping on the bandwagon now because they're hot, and it's like, it's tempting to do that because you want people to listen.
Yeah.
But I genuinely need time to process what I'm
Yes.
seeing, and I want to get the full feel of the tour. So don't hate us that we're not doing it right away, and at the same time, don't hate us that we're waiting. I don't know.
Yeah, just
don't hate us if we do. Don't hate us if we don't.
You obviously know we have a deep, unabiding, is that the word I want? Love for this group, and we spend the majority of our waking hours thinking about them. So you know we're coming from a place of love.
It's
we
pure.
need to work it out. But we're going to talk about the abs because it's what everybody's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And I told Jeff today, because Jeff watched, because he's an angel. And he likes BTS, it turns out, actually.
He was live texting me.
Live texting.
And then I found out he was live texting you, and I was like, why are we not just group chatting
Yeah, seriously, we have a group chat. What are we doing?
That's what this is for.
Jeff's trying to keep us apart.
I think so. I think he's trying to see if we think the same, because then he texted us both at the same time.
That's right.
You both just responded with the exact same GIF.
We do that a lot.
Which we do often. I think people think we are like sitting together all the time. I never see you.
No,
I see you once a week podcast.
For like 2 hours, and then we're out of here. It's just because we share a brain at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But if you didn't watch, spoiler alert, we finally saw Jungkook's abs.
Also,
I say finally.
Congratulations for living off the grid, because if you don't know that by now, you are living the dream.
I don't know how you went on any social media without seeing this.
Ragingly jealous of you.
Yeah, because we can't go back to before we saw them.
Right.
But I was telling Jeff, as much as I love a fit fella, I don't know.
As much as you like chocolate.
As much as I like chocolate, I feel like I prefer the Jungkook who sits in the BMA's front row eating snacks and looking with a gaping mouth like he doesn't know what's going on. I don't know. That's the Jungkook I signed up for.
Mm-hmm. I'm
happy about the abs, but I will always truly love the goofball Jungkook.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I don't know. Did I take a lot of screenshots of the abs? Yeah, I did. I'm not going to lie to you.
A lot of people did.
I mean, they were out there for us.
I did not. And you know what? I kind of felt I was indifferent.
You were.
I'm not a Jungkook girl. I just he's great. He's great. He's crazy talented.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I almost feel like when you walk in, like on your mom and dad using the bathroom, where it's like,
I did feel like weirdly embarrassed.
Yeah, like I
when saw
wasn't
that.
supposed to see that.
Yeah, I was like, that's not for me.
And then I felt bad because I'm a Jimin girl, and that's always been his role in the group. And so in the V Live, after the performance, when he was chugging champagne, I'm like, you do it, man. Like, they dethroned you tonight. You just do your thing.
They have totally disregarded your abs. And that is something, Jimin, we will never do in this podcast.
Never. And
I feel like that's the thing I decided today was I've seen a lot of dudes with abs, and you know what? It's not that impressive to me. Mm-hmm. If you're healthy, great. You don't need a six-pack to be an attractive person.
That's why we get along.
Right. Like, because, Beck and I both have well-defined six-packs.
Yes, we do. As every mother of three does.
Yeah, as every lazy jerk like me does. So, to me, it's like, yeah, you can see dudes with great abs all the time, but Jungkook is special and wonderful because of his incredible voice and how hard he works and his funny, goofy personality. So I had to like have this moment with myself where I was like, would I like him if he was just a hot guy with abs? I wouldn't hate him. But no, that's not what I like about him. Mm-hmm. Again, super glad to have this new facet to his personality. We know it's been there all along. Finally got to see it. But even talking about it now, I'm like, ugh, gross. Yuck. He's a human, Megan. Treat him like a human.
I'm glad we could get this off our chest.
I told myself I wasn't going to talk about it.
It's like the mullet outbreak in K-pop.
God, I'm overwhelmed by mullets and abs.
And again, so the fake love thing came out, and all I could think was, oh, V. He kind of still has that haircut.
Yeah, he's just gonna rock it, man.
And the thing is, looks good on him.
He looks fabulous.
But like you, now I notice it.
You see it all the time.
And I can't stop seeing it.
Okay, actually, so when we talked about the mullet outbreak, I was saying how it reminded me of that 80s movie, The Lost Boys. Mm-hmm. Okay. The entire fashion for the fake love video is like The Lost Boys. Yeah. Like the long earring. It's so 80s. I love it. It's like crossed over from like, why do you have that 80s mullet to like, oh, it's a whole thing, I'm into it.
Right.
So,
we've said our piece.
Also, that zebra print shirt. Have you watched the video yet?
Oh, yeah, I finally did. So, for anybody listening, I could not. Megan did the ultimate fan thing.
Yeah,
we should save a lot of this for next
Yeah,
Megan got up early to like.
We'll give you the whole story.
To get into it. I did not watch it for over a day because
she needed to process the song.
I prefer to listen to the song and get into it.
You're either a Megan or a Becca. Here we are again.
Yeah.
You're a Jimin or a V.
And amazing.
It's perfect.
Speaking of which, one more fun thing. So this weekend, my husband, out of the blue.
This was the best.
We woke up. We have 3 kids, guys. It's exhausting. It's so exhausting. They're young. It's exhausting. I'm tired all the time. I'm glad people think that I'm Superwoman sometimes. I'm not Superwoman.
You seem like it.
There is no such thing as Superwoman.
How dare you?
And I was exhausted. And so we're doing yard work. We're trying to plant flowers.
By the way, your landscaping looks beautiful.
Oh, did you like it?
I
Did I pulled up tonight?
It's gorgeous.
We were trying to mow. It's this whole thing. The kids are running around. We're trying to make sure they're not like running away from the house. Anyway, at the very end of the day, I'm disgusting. I have a sunburn. We've been outside all day. Got the kids screaming. They're hungry for dinner. My husband, guys, this is goal husband material. Out of the blue. And I thought he was joking. Just said, hey, what's Megan doing tonight? And I was like, I don't know why. And he goes, maybe you should call her. You guys want to go out for dinner? I'll watch the kids. And I was like, what?
Unprompted. It's like the most amazing thing ever.
So we did. We went to this great Thai place.
Oh, we had a blast.
They served Korean food.
Yeah. We had a glass of wine, we had dinner, and then we were like,
we have things to talk about.
Let's not go home yet.
Yeah. My husband was like, stay out as long as you want. There was a bar next door that brews their own beer.
We went there.
And you know what? It was a super nice night in Iowa, which is rare.
Yeah, it does not happen.
We sat outside comfortably, and the temperature was perfect. They had like Christmas lights hanging.
I was wearing shorts.
At one point, we were joking about the royal wedding because it was the same day as the royal wedding. Yeah. And I was like, you almost feel like you're at the royal wedding here because it was like an old brick area. It looked very European.
It was very pretty, yeah.
And we were joking about how we felt like we were in Europe. And then Megan even said, almost feels like we're on a date. Like it was just like perfectly lit. And then out of the blue, bunch of people like showed up drunk off their rear ends. They had been drinking all day, watching the royal wedding. They had on the hats.
They had on like a wedding gown.
I mean, we seriously felt like we were at the royal wedding.
It was awesome. It was like oh man, we had so much fun. We need to do that more often.
We need to do it. I would do it right now, Megan.
Me too.
Let's go do it.
We could always use it.
So I have one funny story really fast. This is a very last minute podcast because I just got back from DisneyWorld with my daughters, which was great. Megan's leaving in a day to go to Boston with Jeff. So we're like, when are we going to squeeze in this podcast?
We're just going to shove it together.
So please forgive us that we haven't had time to get together. But my story from Disney World, walking around, this woman with an extremely British accent, super loud, says to her husband, I don't know, I'm just kind of disappointed. People aren't nearly as attractive as I thought they would be. And I told my mother-in-law, I don't want to sound like a bad person, but no matter what, when I visit Korea, that will probably be a thought in my head.
Because all we see are movie stars and like idols.
And it was just so funny because she was so upfront and open about it. And I was like, this is great.
So she was expecting like everyone to look like Chris Evans.
She followed it up then and said, I was expecting more Brads and Angelinas. I was like, so do
Good
I.
luck.
Yeah,
I'm from here and I've never seen anybody that looks like that in real life. Are you kidding me?
So that was the highlight of my vacation. I just thought that was so funny.
I feel like if she really knew Americans, she'd just be expecting a lot of dudes in like camo jackets and trucker hats.
Like,
isn't that the stereotype?
Yeah, just
a lot of
Ashton Kutchers.
Loud people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we got some of those around
Ashton
here.
Kutcher
is from Iowa. Welcome to it, ladies and gentlemen.
Guy.
Proud. Loud and proud.
Loud and proud.
So, should we jump in?
Let's do it.
All right. Today, we're going to do Boys Over Flowers, part...
Do.
Dos.
Tvo.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of all the languages.
Du.
I know. Zwei. That's German. Come on, Megan. Kick one out.
Dos? Did we already say that?
No, we did not.
Do. No, I already did. That was the first one I did.
Boys Over Flowers, part 2.
Here we go.
All right. We're going to make it quick, too, because
it's so tired.
It's insane.
I don't have 3 kids either.
I took notes on this when we did our first podcast about Boys Over Flowers, and I was going through them today, rereading them, and all I could think was, who wrote this story? There is no consistency, no continuity. There's like, the character's undeveloped, if that's possible.
It's sort of like you shove together 10 premises for 10 different dramas into one show, but each premise, which would usually last like 16 episodes, just lasts like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And then it's like on to the next,
and then they move
totally
on.
new story that had just surprise you. All of a sudden she's a model getting stalked by somebody.
Well, I decided to point out some of the inconsistencies just for our benefit.
I can't imagine there were many.
I'm excited for you. So let's dive in.
I'm ready.
I'm sure people have been waiting with bated breath because we left off on a real cliffhanger.
We did. I don't know if you guys remember. John D
was strapped to a chair.
She trusted the wrong person.
She trusted a model, and if we knew anything...
What have we learned?
You can't trust somebody who doesn't eat a lot of food.
Never trust a model.
So,
especially when you just met.
Who tells you that you could be a model, and then you look in the mirror and think, no.
Who happened to save you from a weird sex trafficking situation. I gotta say, a lot of things don't add up here with this fella.
She doesn't have a lot of common sense when it comes to that. So
when it comes to that.
when it comes to everything.
Anything.
So here we go.
Here we are.
John D is kidnapped. She's strapped to a chair. Model guy is in this weird warehouse with like a fire going. It would almost be romantic, except it's not consensual, which is the theme of the show.
Right. Again, we come back to John D has not been asked if she's okay with this.
But also, she's not really vocalizing her discomfort.
She just sits there. Right? I mean, okay. And so Becca, as always, did a ton of prep and I didn't prepare at all. So I'm like watching Becca like, oh my God, I forgot that happened. So I could be misremembering things.
That's how it happens. So he pretty much tells her, well, it was like, I'm mad at June Pugh, but I saw the way he looked at you, and so I'm trying to get revenge for my brother, and I decided to kidnap you, but I like you now, but...
Wait, he does say that?
He basically says that.
What is his deal?
I don't know.
I hate this character so much.
Well, don't worry, because after this episode,
he
gone.
Yeah, by the way, he's last 2 episodes.
Gone, yeah. So then, of course, out of the blue, June Pugh shows up.
Do we ever get clarification on how he found her?
I don't think so. He just kind of magically shows up. Well, unfortunately for Junpyu, model guy has some model friends.
Oh my god.
And they like restrain Junpyu and start beating the crap out of him. And the model basically tells him, if you can just beg for forgiveness and say that you will give up John D, I will let you go.
Which, does he think that if he gets Junpyu to be like, okay, fine, she's all yours, then John D will be like, I guess you made a deal. I guess I'm all yours now.
I mean,
like, she's gonna be okay with this?
She's tied up to a chair in a knot that my son could make. Not struggling whatsoever. She's just kind of going like, well, I'm tied up, so I guess I gotta sit here.
I guess we'll see how you fellas sort this out, and then I'll know which way to go.
So Junpyu, of course, which is actually like a sexy line in this show, which you don't get many. He says, I can't do that. And then he like spits blood.
And this is like prime Lee Min-ho, where you're just like, this is everything I've ever wanted in a man.
Oh, it's so dreamy. But also, like, he spits enough blood that you think he's having like some sort of bleeding
internal
ulcer.
bleeding issues.
But it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's an abandoned warehouse. It doesn't need to stay clean.
He's gonna be fine.
So then they start kicking the crap out of him more.
Junpyu.
And he dies.
And then we start a whole new show.
Just kidding.
JK, LOL.
Trying to keep Megan on her toes. But then in the distance,
wait, for a second, I was like, does he like die and then come back to life? Did I forget that?
Like
a totally plausible plot point in the show.
It would be understandable.
I was dead for 5 minutes, but then I remembered how much I loved you, so I had to come back to life.
So then in the distance, you hear, almost parents.
Oh my god.
And F3 bursts in.
They come in like the Avengers.
You guys, so we have, side story, we have this cat at our house.
Oh my god.
We went for a walk this weekend.
I can't.
And this cat followed us around our entire neighborhood and then followed us home. Hang with me. This is going somewhere relatable. Boys Over Flowers.
I'm going to be stuck thinking about this cat now.
So then last night, the cat was here all night, just hanging out in our yard. This morning, it wasn't there when I left, but apparently when my husband left with the girls, the cat was just like waiting for him on the front porch. And the cat looks like a house cat, super clean, super well fed, super rested, like great, beautiful, very kind cat. Well, then tonight, Megan comes over. The cat is back.
Oh.
And it just, like, loves our house.
Which
and we
like
just don't know what to do with it.
Killing me so badly.
And Megan is such an animal person. It's killing her inside to know that there's this animal up there that doesn't have a home.
I know that you guys shouldn't feed it, but I would really love for you to feed it. Or, like, let me feed it near you.
So when Megan came over, I was like, oh, the cat, it's right here. So she goes outside, she's petting it, and you keep saying over and over, do you have a microchip cat? Do you have, like, is it going to help you find a home?
Can we find your parents?
So this is where it's relatable to Boys Over Flowers. Whenever John D is in a crazy amount of trouble, there is no distress call. No. She has a microchip.
They have somehow tracked her.
And it's just programmed into gangster Pottery Guy and Fabio's heads. And they're like, our John D alarms are going off. And we need to go save her.
John D alarm is about to go off like 6 more times in the next 3 episodes.
Like 60 times. I couldn't believe it when I was going through my notes today.
She is an idiot.
So anyway, F3 shows up. They save the day. Here's where the story... Okay, again, I always say where it gets weird, and you say,
here's where it gets weird.
Yeah. So the next scene, so basically, Junpyu's on the ground. F3 comes in to save the day. Model guy gets so angry. He picks up a chair and he goes to slam it over Junpyu's head.
Oh my god.
Well, John D magically realizes this knot isn't holding me to this chair.
Suddenly she can move.
And so she jumps in front of the chair and it gets broken over her back and it knocks her out and she lands on the ground and Junpyu's freaking out.
She protects him.
F3 is kicking butt.
Yeah.
Next scene is they're in the hospital and she's waking up.
In like a VIP room.
Yeah. Junpyu's there. He's already been attended to. And he starts like, they're hurling insults and it just jumps right back into the relationship.
I can remember this part.
I just remember thinking, that seemed like a pretty major injury. And then I was hoping there would be like a sweet reunion at the hospital and it was just them poking fun at each other. Well, the very next scene is her going to her house. And her
already been discharged.
Her mom is like crying because they owe money to loan sharks and it's this huge thing. I just remember thinking, oh, how does your mom
no one contacted her mother. Which
is never brought up.
Honestly, probably Junpyo is so insane. He probably changed her emergency contact to himself.
It's just never
without
mentioned again.
her knowing.
That she's a high schooler.
Yeah.
Who just had this life-changing thing happen.
Guess who never talks to the police? Goom John-D.
Or Junpyo.
Goo Junpyo.
None of them.
Like, this dude is, like, stalking and harassing them and almost killed them.
There's harassment, there's attempted murder, there's kidnapping.
But they're like, you know what? We have too many other plot points to take care of. We're not even going to bother filing a report on this.
And also, he's just gone now.
Yeah, there's no
consequences.
He's done so. There's never any closure with his brother. Like, this was a flash in the pan. This was an insignificant storyline that took up a crap load of our time.
Again, I couldn't stop watching.
No, it's great, but I hate it. I think I said last time, that's my least favorite storyline. And the rest I can tolerate, but I hated that stupid model.
So she goes home. Her parents are in trouble. Now all of her friends know, like, oh, her parents are financially not doing well. You should know that from the get-go. She was delivering dry cleaning during a school day.
Yes.
But it's like a surprise to them. So to surprise her and make her happy, they decide to go on vacation again. And they go skiing. Do you remember the skiing?
Why did I think that this part was, like, way farther in?
Oh, no. This is episode 12.
Is this the necklace?
Yes.
I thought this was like way after Macau. And,
no.
Oh, man,
Megan.
we get right to it.
No. So they all go skiing together.
At a beautiful resort.
John D mysteriously has enough money to go.
Which, we'll find this out later, but this chair breaking incident, it renders her swimless. Like, something about this injury makes it so she can't swim anymore.
I go into detail and I point out some of the medical inaccuracies just because it's so fun.
But I also want you to know it doesn't stop her from skiing.
Right.
Which, like, what? How?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know anything about the human body, but, like, it seems like you'd use a lot of the same muscles.
Nope, she's fine skiing. So they go skiing. Junpyo teaches her to ski. It's actually kind of sweet. But anyway, he decides, I really like this girl. I'm going to give her this one-of-a-kind custom necklace. And he designs it for her.
I gotta say, for all the K-drama necklaces out there,
it's a good one.
It's a very pretty necklace.
It kind of reminds me of the necklace from Master Son. They're kind of similar.
Yeah, it's very elegant. It has something to do with like an orbiting star or something.
Yes, so it's the moon and then a star. And basically he's like, I'm the moon and you're inside me as a star and I'll never leave your star. I don't know. So I asked my friend who is part Korean. That sounds weird. Who's half Korean.
Who's part Korean.
I mean, we're all part something.
You're right.
Sorry if I said that in an insensitive way.
No.
So she's like, the translation doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's actually quite sweet.
Okay.
And she's like, I'm even trying to think how to translate it better for you. And she's like, I'm failing.
I feel like when he says it, it makes him sound like I'm the center of the universe.
Yeah, it makes it sound like
and you're stuck in my orbit.
And I own you now.
Yeah,
like that's the way it comes across.
You are a part of me.
Yeah.
And the keyword is me, not you. Like that, it does seem very, which honestly, like I didn't even flinch at because it's so Junpyo.
Mm-hmm.
Like, of course he's the center of the universe. He's good Junpyo.
Well, she was cracking me up because she's like, no, it's actually so romantic. But she's like, when I think about the English translation, it just doesn't add up.
It's not the same.
She's like,
That's
it
so
just
fascinating.
makes him sound really conceited.
Yeah, which, again, they're lucky that it comes off that like appropriate for his character, I guess. But that's kind of lovely to know that he actually has a beautiful moment.
She said it's a very cute thing.
Oh, that's so sweet.
So he tells her when he gives her this necklace, I designed this for you. There's only one like it in the world, so if you lose it, you're really dead this time.
Which, wow, what a dreamy thing to say.
Tell me more.
Oh, please, give me this necklace that also comes with a thread. It's 2 gifts in one.
So, of course, guess who else is here? Like, the whole school is on this vacation.
Again, yeah, they can't go anywhere without every single one of their graduating classmates.
The mean girls are there. They hear about the necklace. They're jealous. They all like Junpyo.
Yeah.
So then they decide they're going to swipe the necklace because he said she's really dead to him if she loses it. So they're all out skiing, and they push her down, and when they pretend to help her up in, like, the slowest, clumsiest way possible, they swipe the necklace from her.
And, of course, Johnny doesn't notice because she's no dope.
Yeah, she has no... Oh, these girls that are always mean to me are super nice to me. Must
Who
be
knew?
legitimate.
Huh, it must be the snow.
So, eventually, he finds out she lost it. He gets super mad.
He gets really mad. And it's heartbreaking.
It kind of is heartbreaking. He basically says, are you sure you lost it on accident? I mean, he's accusing her of not wanting to accept his genuineness.
And as much as we make fun of the show for being bonkers, there are the underlying relationship, you are so involved and invested, don't you think? Like, you do get so just completely invested in their relationship that the moments like this where you're like, no, this, it's not what you think.
It's just an accident. She's John D.
She's John D. Yeah.
Why do you give her something expensive?
Of course.
I would never give my 5-year-old a diamond necklace.
No.
Like, why did you do that?
We know how genuinely she cares about him. For the first time, you're finally seeing her like really, really care about him. And it's just like, no, not again. It hurts so badly.
It's heartbreaking. So we gotta wrap this episode up because so much is happening. So she decides, the mean girls give her a tip that they think they found the necklace, or somebody had found the necklace on this ski slope. But of course, there's a winter storm coming.
It's like a blizzard.
So John D decides, I better just hurry and go get it.
I can beat it.
I can totally beat the storm. Now, Junpyu, through this other random storyline with his mom, has been pulled out of the trip now. She doesn't even know. He's been like yanked from the resort. He's like in the car with all these guys. Either. Oh yeah, these bodyguards. So she starts going up the hill. Well, F3 is like, where the F is John D? And they get wind that she's out in this winter storm, but instead of just going because they're there, they call Junpyu. He's like 50 miles away now in a car being held hostage.
Because teenage boys frequently get together and go, what's practical, but what's romantic? Let's weigh our options.
The romantic thing is for Junpyu to be like, I gotta go to the bathroom. So he makes the hostage guys pull over. And of course, he can just conveniently get away. He
Worst
also
bodyguards ever.
Conveniently finds a snowmobile.
Stop it. I don't remember that at all.
And zooms his way to John D's heart.
God help
of
me.
course, because of the storm, the snowmobile ends up dying. So now he's sprinting up this hill. Again, you guys, go watch this scene because I just look at it and think, you could do so much better. There's no snow. There's no wind.
It doesn't seem stormy.
It doesn't even look that cold. And yet John D is incapable of staying on 2 legs.
She's like, also not wearing a very good winter coat. She looks very stylish, but does not look warm.
She looks like a newborn baby giraffe.
Yeah,
like,
she's just falling
learning
over.
to walk for the first time.
And she's digging through the snow.
like she's gonna find this necklace.
It's a gigantic ski slope, and the necklace is it's smaller than a dime.
I just, like, watching it, I was so invested. And then even today I went back to rewatch it, and I got invested again. And I'm like, my brain is divided in two, because the logical part of me is saying, this is so not happening.
Yes.
And then the romantic side of my brain's like, this is the greatest storyline ever.
I distinctly remember this episode, like, clutching my pearls and like, oh, what's gonna happen? They have to work it out. Like, being so worried and so nervous and anxious about what was gonna happen. Like, you get into it. You just get into it.
Yeah. So,
and then it's easy to step outside of it and be like, this is dumb.
This is so, as a writer, I feel like we're both writers.
Yes.
We look at it and think, what were they thinking?
Like, who greenlit this?
Yeah.
Who was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. No, it doesn't. None of this makes sense.
So he ends up finding her. Again, she's like the size of my pinky on a huge ski resort, but he finds her.
Which there's like nobody policing or patrolling this massive ski resort either.
It's because she has that cat microchip in her and she just knows where she's at.
Thank goodness. Somebody put a tracker on John D.
Thank goodness. Somebody's microchipped John D.
Yeah.
So he finds her. She's basically semi-conscious at this point. Again, there's no snow, no wind, and it doesn't look that cold, but that's fine.
It doesn't matter.
And I honestly give kudos to both of them because they're committed to this
they're pulling it off.
storyline.
Yeah. I believe she's cold. She seems cold.
So they end up going like 10 feet farther, and there just happens to be an abandoned cabin on the ski slope.
Oh my God, I forgot about this too. I forgot about this, but now that I'm thinking about it, I remember being like, I like where this is going.
Right? So he brings her in. She's all wet. She's been in the snow. Again, she's wet because there's snow on the ground and it's hot out, so it's melting.
She must have like rolled around in the snow to get as wet as she got. Just like buried herself for a little while.
So they go in the cabin. He starts a fire. IDK how he did that. I don't know how he managed that. IDK.
keep going until Becca stops laughing because she's the only one that remembers what happens. Okay. All I remember
I gotta breathe.
is that he warms her up, right?
He warms her up by giving her his clothes.
Which, this is the same guy that when they were stuck on the Namsan Tower thought he was going to die just from being in a windy place.
He got exposed to the elements and
was
caught a
outside
cold
for a few hours and almost died.
So he gives her his clothes, which is great for the viewers.
Yeah, again, I
because
like
now
where this is going.
We have a topless Lee Min-ho.
Which, yeah.
Yes, please.
I mean, again, we're here for the personality. We'll stick around for the
stay
abs.
for the shoulders
it's
and
fine.
abs.
Chocolate
it's fine.
abs.
So it's like a romantic moment, and then the next day they show back up at the resort, fully clothed.
Mm-hmm.
Almost, I'm pretty
Pretty
sure
fine.
in different clothes.
Probably.
I don't know where they got those.
They're in a cabin.
Thank God the cabin inhabitants were gone that night and wore the same sizes as Chandi and Junpyu.
In this world, they would.
And their friends are like, oh, we were so worried, whatever. None of them say, like, we called your parents, we called the police, nothing. They're just
We
there.
thought you died from exposure.
Nope, they didn't. So, thankfully, F3 had cornered Mean Girls and been like, what really happened? Why did you send her out? They got the necklace back. So, John D now has her necklace.
And doesn't Junpyu feel like a little bitch for being so mean to her?
Luckiest girl ever, though, because she got some exercise.
She did.
She got to take in the scenery.
She enjoyed nature.
She got to experience a nice bonfire with a shirtless Lee Min-ho.
She spent the night with Lee Min-ho.
And then she gets a diamond necklace handed to her.
And does she appreciate any of this?
No!
No.
Because she's John D.
She's John D. And she tries saying something sweet in this episode. I feel like maybe when he gives her the necklace or when she gets it back, she does like her best effort at saying something sweet.
She says something like, see, I didn't throw it away, or I wouldn't have lost it, or I forget the exact translation.
And then you're like, oh, she loves him.
She loves him so much.
And you're like, they're going to work this out.
But guess what, guys?
LOL.
The episode ends because Junpyu's father is sick in China on a business trip. And he gets taken away to visit his dad. We never meet his dad, I don't think. That's how the episode ends.
In a coma?
Yeah, I don't remember. Maybe we do meet him.
I feel like I don't remember if this is the same show or if this is a different show with a rich kid.
Whose dad is sick.
It's
probably all of them.
I feel like John D sits with his comatose father and holds his hand.
Yeah, what show
or something.
is that? That might be the show. If it is, I completely skipped it. So
I was not. The comatose father is not a big enough plot point to be memorable in the show. If that tells you anything, that's what this show is.
Let's dig into 13. Not as much happens.
Thank God.
Thank goodness.
12 is a banger.
Apparently, I don't remember this. His dad dies.
Oh, just kidding. It's not that show. It's not this show then.
Yeah, his dad dies. So F3 can't get in touch with him. He's overseas now. His dad has died. There was a funeral. They can't get in touch with him. Neither can John D.
And
he's just gone to the world.
He's ghosting everyone.
But no worries, because Fabio is taking it very seriously to watch over John D while Junpyu is absent.
If you know what I mean.
Wink. Wink.
Mm-hmm.
So he sees her struggling in many areas of life.
Can be more
I don't know
specific.
how anybody could not see her struggling. And he asks her about her shoulder. And she's like, yeah, I don't know if I can swim because my shoulder hurts because a chair was broken over me.
Because the guy tried to kill me, but I never reported it.
So he takes her to a doctor, as one should from the beginning.
Yeah.
Is there not universal health care in Korea? There must not be.
They went to the hospital.
I don't know what
The hospital
happened.
didn't check for any internal injuries, apparently.
It's not. So,
but they had a humidifier going.
The doctor tells her, you'll eventually heal, but your swimming days are over. Not like your lifting days or your running days.
Your swimming days are over.
Or your motherhood days because you'll be lifting babies with that arm. No, just your swimming days.
Yeah.
You're good every other area.
And what does that mean, you'll eventually heal? So, you'll eventually...
I think, regain your strength, but you can't swim anymore.
Ever again.
It's a very specific
Which I feel
injury.
like there's never an actual diagnosis where they're like, you'll never swim again. I feel like, if anything, when you have a horrible injury like that, they're like, someday you should try swimming to make yourself stronger. I feel like that's always the...
You should try cross-training as much as possible.
Yeah, please lift this dumbbell.
So So she's super depressed. She sits at the edge of a pool. And I remember the scene, and I remember thinking, oh, Fabio, you dum-dum. Why do you like her so much? Because she says, I know I'm not pretty, I'm not smart, I'm not rich, but there was one thing I liked that I could do better than the other people. They say I have to quit. I can't swim anymore. What do I do now? And I remember thinking, she needs you. You're sitting there. You're not making an aggressive move. Clearly, Junpyu doesn't care. He's not in the picture. You're a teenage boy.
Yes.
This is not reality.
Her two options are terrible because she has Junpyu, who's so aggressive, it's so much. And then she has Fabio, who, like, can't say 3 words together. Like, he can't just be like, hey, I'm into you. Let's do this. Whereas Junpyu's like, by the way, I own you.
We're dating now.
You and me, girl, forever.
So her hobby is gone. Her boyfriend
Which
is
is
gone.
very sad. It's
Her
not
family-
believable, but it's sad.
Her family home life is, like, gone.
Wait, has that happened yet?
Well, it's getting there, but they're
Okay.
just financially completely unstable.
Yeah, everything's a mess.
Everything's falling apart. She's in a deep fog.
As it does.
So, real best friend. Thank God for real best friend. And
Real
F3
best friend.
do something pretty amazing. And they decide to give her, like, a retirement ceremony from swimming. Do you remember this?
Oh,
part?
this is beautiful.
It's so lovely.
It's really beautiful.
And they all meet at the pool, and she gets to, like, hop in and, like, kind of swim, which, again, I'm confused by because they said she couldn't swim.
To.
I don't know. But she swims well, and then she gets out, and they, like, are like, you are retired.
They say goodbye. It's like
throw a party.
a funeral for her hobby.
It's really beautiful. So now they decide, we've had enough. Junpyu's ghosting us. Let's just all fly to Macau and see what if we can find him.
It's small, right?
Right. He's answering our phone calls. We'll totally be able to tell
He
where
probably
he is.
wants to see us.
So they help John D go. Because again,
She's poor. And they have unlimited cash.
I don't understand where their parents are.
Again, these generous fellows were the guys that were having other people basically, like, try to murder her at the beginning of the show.
But it's cool. They're all good now.
We've forgotten all about
They're
that.
all homeboys. They're
Yeah,
fine.
it doesn't matter anymore.
So when she lands, she goes to the hotel and she bumps into this woman. Let's see if you remember this part, Megan. She bumps into a woman. The woman drops something. John D picks it up, hands it to her. They exchange some niceties, and then they go separate ways. So then John D's, like, walking down the street, and some thug
Oh, I remember this.
picks her wallet. She turns around, tries to defend herself. Well, he's overpowering her because she has a bum shoulder, even though she just swam.
And she's walking around with all of her worldly possessions with
Like,
her.
nobody taught her how to travel as a single person.
No.
And guess what?
Real quick, she's traveling separately from F3 for some reason.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't understand
They're
that
on totally
either.
different planes. Anyway.
So a woman comes to her aid.
And it's
The
same
woman from the hotel.
Yeah.
We're going to start calling her Monkey.
Because that is how she's referred to.
Because that is how she's referred for the rest of the show. So they end up liking each other.
Yeah.
A lot.
Monkey is cool.
They're super fun. They return to Junpyu's hotel because Monkey can get her in. And she sees Junpyu across the room. And her heart falls because he's smiling and laughing. And he's got 3 beautiful women around him. And it's clear that he's at, like, a business function. And then he meets eyes with her. So reading my notes today, I thought, this is so corny. And then I went back and watched it, and I was like, oh, God, I love it
Oh, yeah.
so
I'm going to
much.
tell you now. I love the Macau episodes.
So he meets her eyes, and his smile falls for just a brief second, and he looks completely torn. And then his smile returns, and he turns away like he never saw her.
This is the essence of Lee Min-ho right here. Like, this is what Lee Min-ho does best.
Man.
Torturous glances and just, like, horrible, heartbreaking ignoring her.
It's the best.
It's so good.
So, of course, John D leaves. She's not a happy girl.
With all of her worldly possessions.
Yep. And guess what happens? Because
Well, wait a minute. She wouldn't get mugged again.
somebody steals her luggage.
Stop.
Because she has yet to check into a hotel room. But
No.
she's been there for like 8 hours.
What? She went to Macau without a plan?
But
I
hold
refuse
up.
to believe it.
Hold up. Even though she never read any safety precautions when traveling alone. F3 shows
Also,
up.
she's in some random part of the city. She's not even by the hotel anymore.
Nope.
She's like in a market somewhere. So in all of Macau, F3 just appears.
Almost paradise.
And Becca's saying that like we're kidding, but that plays every time they show up.
Time. And they help her.
They fend off these evildoers.
Yeah, again, they help her. They decide, and then they decide none of us can get in charge. Like, in touch with Junpyu. He's busy because his father died and he's like the heir to this company now. So we're just going to go sightseeing. We'll worry about it tomorrow.
Yeah, we came here for a very big purpose, but whatever, it's fine.
So that's how the episode ends. They're sightseeing. They're like on a gondola, I think, aren't they?
Oh, is that when Monkey is singing on the... They like
That's coming up. Yes.
Okay, Monkey is cool, but also I hate her.
Yeah.
Another terrible
I'm
addition.
conflicted on her.
She's a great character, played by an amazing actress whose name escapes me.
She's beautiful.
She's super famous. I'm gonna look it up while you keep
All right.
talking.
So, episode 14, are you ready to jump in?
I'm ready.
All right. So, Junpyu sits in meetings, and all of a sudden he starts getting various text messages, and they include photos of John D and Fabio exploring Macau because...
Like close-up photos that somebody had to be like 4 feet away to take.
Yeah, pretty much. And guess what? He's troubled by it. He doesn't like it, Megan.
What? I don't believe it.
So then we go back to F3, and they decide, you know what? We're just going to go to Junpyu. We're going to try to work this out. He's ignoring us. We're childhood best friends, whatever. So they all meet in the hotel gym. And the F3 are playing basketball.
This like regulation-sized court.
And Junpyu walks in and says...
Oh, I like this scene.
It's actually quite nice. And he's like very formal. He's like, nice to see you.
We can tell he's changed. Something weird has happened.
Something is bizarre.
Yeah.
And they respond with, well, do you mean that? Because it doesn't seem like you're happy to see us.
Also, I feel like somewhere in the meantime, they've all graduated.
I'm not sure.
I feel like that's like a whole thing where John Dee's the only one in school anymore. But anyway, continue.
So Junpyu pretty much admits everything to them. And he's like, listen, I don't have time for John Dee anymore because my dad died. I'm taking over the company. There are 700,000 employees and their families that I'm now responsible for. I don't have time to worry about her when I'm trying to worry about these 700,000 employees. Which is great.
Someone just grew up out of nowhere. Because this does not sound like Junpyu.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
So, but then, of course, in true Junpyu fashion, he tells them, if you mention her name again, then you might as well just leave. Because, you know, it's fine to admit that your history never happened.
Right. Just denial is the way to go.
It's the best way to deal with your emotional
That's how
problems.
I do it.
So Pottery Guy gets all riled up by that because he really likes John Dee. He thinks she's a cool girl.
Finally, Pottery Guy's doing something other than saxing us.
Well, he saxes Junpyu in this instant because he punches
him in the face.
And then he says, which is a great way to slip it in, he says something about, well, that's something mean to say about somebody that can't even swim anymore.
Oh,
or something like that because of you. And Junpyu looks surprised, but then they drop it. Nobody brings it up again. So they decide, because they're sneaky, they're going to sneak John Dee out in the middle of the night, like early morning, like at sunrise. And they're going to try to get Junpyu. They're going to trick him and try to get him to meet her on like this bridge in Macau. It's very romantic.
Oh, that's right.
And so she meets him secretly, and they kind of have him. He's just so mean to her, and basically says, "I don't want to know you." He's not even making eye contact, and he's like, "I don't want to know you. I don't even know why you're here."
Yeah.
Then he says that she's a stain that he wants to erase.
It is brutal.
It's hard. I don't even like John Dee that much, and
No.
my heart broke for her.
And I want this relationship to happen so badly that every time he acts like that, it's just like, you've betrayed me.
Yes.
As a human, Megan,
I liked you with that perm. You can't do this to me.
No, you've made me like you despite all odds. You crazy, possessive psycho with a terrible haircut.
It's terrible. So then basically, she leaves. She's like, fine, I will.
Which, props to John Dee. She's not going to mess around. She's just going to go.
Well, but I also think it's like, hey, you're kidnapped, so sit on this chair. And he's like, hey, we're not together anymore. And she's like, okay, bye.
Because John Dee's never really fought for any of this. Like, honestly, if I were Junpyu, I would still be kind of like, does she like me, though? I don't actually know if she likes me.
And I think, going back to our first podcast with Boys Over Flowers, at this point, John Dee might even be thinking, maybe we weren't dating this whole time.
Yeah.
Like, maybe
she still
confused.
has not. She's like, people give people necklaces for other reasons. I don't know. There's no way to tell.
So this is where I was like, okay, I still like Junpyu. Because then do you remember he busts into his mom's office and he's just like got tears. He's like yelling at her and he's like, are you happy now? Is this what you had intended? Like, everything is ruined for me. I'm doing exactly what you want and everything else in my life is ruined. And there's a scene where he's like yelling and his eyes never blink. And his eyes slowly fill with tears, and it's just like rage crying.
Lee Min-ho is the best.
Oh, give me an emotional man cry, and I'm just done.
I think he's so passionate. So yeah, he's way too much most of the time, but then in these moments when he's like way too much in a good way, this is why we love Junpyo.
This is why it hurts.
Because he still loves her so much.
It hurts. And
But
that's how the episode ended.
And he was so good at being cold and horrible to her that you're like, well, you ruined that.
Yeah.
So if that was what you're going for, good job.
Sorry, guy.
Yeah.
So, all right. Episode 15. I have like a funny part that's not really like a big part of the story, but it made me laugh. John D and Fabio are still in Macau. I think F2's already left. I'm not sure where they're at.
Yeah, they just pieced out.
Who knows?
Well, did they play like nighttime hide and seek already?
Oh no, that's coming.
Oh, okay.
I think that's coming.
So F3's, they're still there then.
I'm not sure. And so they have to like share a house together. They don't have a hotel room. I'm confused by the whole thing. And in the morning, she's John D and confused as to where she is. And she gets up to use the restroom. She's sitting on the toilet. And I don't know if she doesn't lock the door. He walks in.
Fabio?
Yeah.
Wait, is this when they're staying with that weird guy that's obsessed with him? Okay, no. So they were going to fly home. They get to the airport or something, and this like weirdo dude who's like way too much is like, oh my God, you're here. We're best friends. Come stay at my house. And Fabio's like, okay. And then John D's like, I guess I could stay a couple more days too. And then they go back to his house. And the reason I say he's a weirdo is because he's so mean to John D because he thinks she's like competition for Fabio, I think. But like, we still really don't know who this guy is. And he's just awful.
I don't even remember any of that.
Oh, yeah.
So that's great that you remember that.
Yeah, no. Well, I remember whenever there's like a gay character, I'm always like, oh, wow, this is kind of uncommon. But then they make him this character, and it's like, why did you do that? This character's terrible. Anyway, he's so mean to John D.
And so he walks in on her in the bathroom. Well, instead of handling it like an adult, like everybody poops, it's fine. She has a mental breakdown and like refuses to leave her bedroom that day. Just refuses to leave.
Everybody poops.
Oh, I just said, haven't you read that book? It's like a little book for kids.
Oh, no, I remember that book. Oh, yeah.
Everybody poops.
I'm just happy it came up naturally in conversation.
And so,
what a delight.
But this is like where I thought, oh my gosh, this is the cutest little scene ever, is when she finally emerges. He's prepared a meal for her with a little note that just says memory erased.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Isn't that
That's super sweet. God, you know, Fabio never got me in the way some second leads do, where I'm like, why are you going to pick Junpyo over this guy? But he did have his moments where you're like, what a solid dude.
I know. What an outstanding gentleman.
Yeah.
So anyway, everybody poops is the moral of the story there.
That's the name of the episode.
So then John D, okay, this is one of those storylines where I remember thinking, why does this matter? It's the shoe storyline. Do you remember
the silver shoes?
Where John D and Fabio go shopping. She's eyeing this very specific pair of shoes that she likes.
And they're crazy expensive.
Yeah. So she puts them down because I don't know how she afforded to go on this trip, period.
She didn't.
Let alone buy these expensive shoes. Well, guess what? Fabio knows she wants them, so he sneaks back later and buys them. Very sweet gesture, right?
Because he just knows her size.
Yes.
This is the thing in K-dramas where I'm always like, how does everybody know everybody's shoe size?
I don't know.
Because I feel like everybody's always giving each other shoes, which is great. I love getting shoes, but I feel like nobody knows my shoe size.
But you know what? That's like an old saying that you should never give the person you like shoes because they'll run away from you.
I have heard that.
So it's bad advice to buy your potential lover's shoes. I call them lovers.
Lovers.
Because I'm an old-fashioned person.
That word only belongs between me and pizza. It's from 30 Rock.
So before he buys them for her, though, this is where I remember thinking, what? Junpyo shows up because he's had somebody spying on her.
He has or his mom has? He has.
I think they both
Oh, yeah,
have.
that makes sense that he would get texted the pictures.
Yes.
Then.
And so he goes and he wants to buy her these shoes.
Yeah.
Again, he just told her he never wants to see
what's
her
he gonna
again.
Anonymously.
Yes. What's he going to do once he buys them? So he puts his hand on the shoe. Well, somebody else puts their hand on the shoe at the exact same time.
Dun,
They start
dun,
fighting
dun.
over the shoe. It's Monkey.
What's Monkey doing there?
What is Monkey doing in Macau?
And Monkey is... Come on, Megan. Really? You just looked it up. Lee Min Jung? Lee Min Jung.
Lee Min Jung
is Monkey. Okay.
She's fabulous.
She is great.
And so they start fighting over them. Well, Junpyu ends up winning, but it's this
Because he
whole
overpowers
thing.
her because he's like 10 feet taller than her.
And so, guess what? Then Fabio and John D are like at the airport, and he goes to put this pair of shoes on that he bought for her, which brings me back to why were Monkey and Junpyu fighting over these shoes? If Fabio walked in hours later and bought the exact same pair, there's clearly more than one pair.
Because Junpyu and Monkey are rich kids. And they don't know that you can ask someone, like, do you have more pairs of these shoes? They're used to having one-of-a-kind things. They don't understand mass production.
I don't get that it's like
No.
consumerism.
Yes.
It's fine. So Junpyu sees it. He sees her putting the shoe on.
All the credit I gave Junpyu before for being like tough and being like, I don't want to be with you, and hiding his feelings out the window, because literally like 24 hours ago, you were like, I never want to see you again. And now you're like, put my shoes on. Wear my shoes.
So basically, he gets really mad. And Fabio's like, you have no right to get mad.
Which is correct.
Yes. Fabio pretty much point blank says, I was staying off her out of friendship for you.
Oh, this is a good scene.
And now you have tossed her aside.
Yeah,
she's trashed
basically,
you.
she's fair game because she belongs to all of us.
Right.
She is the person we talk about like
And so
the last ice cream sandwich.
I'm going to go after her.
Right.
Because I enjoy ice cream sandwiches.
I want it. You didn't eat it.
And Junpyu punches him. And then they leave.
Because that's the way.
And finally, John D, it's always physical violence that gets her riled
That's
up.
how you say goodbye in
Yeah. And
Boys
so
Over
she's
Flowers.
like, that's not nice. And then they leave. Well, then Lee Min Ho pulls this amazing performance where he like falls to the ground sobbing
in the airport.
in the airport. It's great. And
He
he's
is a good
carrying
actor.
this bag of shoes he was, I guess, hoping to put on her. And he leaves them at the airport. But guess who walks by and finds them?
Not Monkey.
Monkey.
What? That's too much of a coincidence.
Again, I look back, I don't think these shoes ever come up again.
She doesn't even wear them. We never see John D wearing
And
these
I
shoes.
just think that was a lot
Because
of
if John D
effort
is
for little
smart, she goes
reward.
home, sells the shoes, takes the money to her poor parents who cannot even like afford their rent.
She doesn't.
No.
She doesn't because she's a dum-dum.
She's John D.
So we're still in the same episode. They get home. They all get an invitation to a birthday party for Junpyu.
Not another birthday party.
They just got back from vacation.
Ooh, I like the birthday party
It's time
episode.
for a nice
It's
birthday
a pretty good
party.
one.
And so they show up. The invitation actually came from Junpyu's mom, which is amazing.
Which
she
no
is
no
evil.
red flags there.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
She hates me, but I should probably go to
Well,
this party.
maybe she's changed her mind.
So she gives them a front row table,
Also red flag.
right? To
There's
all
a
the
stage.
people,
There's like a stage.
all the people that she's been saying, stay away from my son. But now she's like, no, be as close to my son as possible.
you should see this.
And so they show up. It's a whole thing. He sees them. There's some tension in the
He's
air.
mad.
And then all of a sudden, his mom is like, surprise, it's not a birthday party. It's an engagement party.
Dun, dun, dun.
And the back door is open, and Monkey is being hoisted in by some security guards.
Like kicking and screaming.
Yeah, she doesn't even want to be there. Junpyu is furious because he's like, I don't know anything about this.
I forgot that he didn't even know what was
No,
happening.
none of them know about it. It's great.
It's an arranged marriage.
It's great.
Monkey and Gu Junpyu are betrothed.
So they have a little powwow at the party, and they're all standing in a circle. And Junpyu like looks at John D, and he's like, I need to talk to you. And then he walks across the circle, grabs a wrist, and starts walking out of the building. And he's angry, and he's
How
not
much
looking back, and
Do
he's
I
mumbling.
want to hate that? Again, in real life, if a guy grabbed my wrist and pulled me out of a room, I would be like, get your dirty hands off of me. But in this scenario, I'm like, oh, take me,
It's
Junpyu.
good.
Pull me anywhere.
Well, you know who doesn't have a voice in this scene?
It's not John D.
It's Monkey. Because
Monkey?
he grabbed the wrong wrist, and he was pulling Monkey behind him.
Stop
the
it.
whole
Stop
time.
it. Are you kidding me?
No. You don't remember this scene?
How is that even physically possible?
First,
Were they just like... flailing their arms about, and he just grabbed one out of the air.
I don't understand. I mean, it's so funny. Like, their physical comedy
that
is so
hilarious
good.
because, like, the wrist grab thing always looks so cool, but in actuality, it would not go right that often.
Right?
Because there is not much eye contact involved. It's like a grab and go.
Well, he grabbed
hot and ready pizza.
He grabbed and went, and it wasn't the wrist he wanted. So
embroider that on a pillow. He grabbed and went, and it wasn't the wrist he wanted.
That's just basic life advice for anybody listening. But I think the funniest part is when the emotional side of my brain is like, well, that's really funny and it's kind of cute. And John Dee's, the emotional turmoil you see when he grabs Monkey instead of her, like there's hurt involved.
Oh yeah, and
the rational
dying
side of my brain is like, he clearly was talking to you. He was making eye contact with you. When he didn't grab your wrist, don't you be like, hey, did you want me?
Excuse me. Excuse me, June Pugh. Could you clarify?
And then Monkey, who's not happy about being there to begin with.
No.
He wasn't even looking at her, and then he grabbed her wrist. Why wouldn't she be like, hey, a-hole, I'm not the girlfriend.
Also, Monkey is a tough bee. Like, she is awesome. She kicked a bunch of dudes' butts to save John Dee. Monkey can overpower pretty boy June Pugh.
Well,
easily could overpower him. She like knows Krav Maga. Is that what it's called?
I think so, yeah.
Thanks.
That's the Russian martial art, right? Krav Maga.
I have no idea.
Don't mess with a woman who
I know
knows
it's
Krav
scary
Maga.
though. Yeah.
Yeah. So then we go to the next episode, episode 16. And it's the next day at school.
Oh, I guess they are all in school still.
I was just going to say these dodo birds are still in school.
Or they might be in college now, because I feel like there's a moment where, and the school has a college.
Yeah.
That's like a thing where it's like, oh, we go to college here now. And I'm pretty sure they've, at some point, everyone but John Dee has graduated and is now attending college at this school.
Who knows? So John Dee happens to run into Monkey at school because now she goes there.
Again, Monkey and John Dee get along great.
No word if Model Guy is still there. Apparently he went to that school. I don't know.
Hopefully at least someone at the school had him expelled for property damage or something. I don't know.
So they recognize each other from the party and from Macau. And Monkey's like, Monkey has no idea that there's a history there.
Monkey is about as oblivious to things as John Dee is. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you.
And it's part of her charm.
It is.
It might be the only part of her that I really think like, oh, that's so cute.
Monkey has no ill will toward anyone.
No.
She's like a super rich girl, the daughter of a huge corporation, but she's cool. She's like not affected or preppy or anything. Mm-hmm. She's just a cool, kind of weird individual, and you like her. I mean, she's annoying, super annoying, right? But you appreciate her for being an individual.
Well, here's where we all feel for John Dee, because Monkey's like, I've never had friends. I've grown up rich. I would like to be your big sis, your auntie. Can we please be friends? And then she says, since you seem to know June Pugh so well, I seem to like him. Will you be my dating coach? And John Dee is just a dum-dum, and she's like, I guess.
I feel like, okay, I'm trying to put myself in her shoes. First of all, impossible.
First of all, they're extremely expensive shoes.
And no one knows the size, really. I just feel like, yeah, would I be the same way where it's like, sure, I'll help you because you're too embarrassed to say, like, no, I like him even though I don't have a chance with him? Mm-hmm. Don't think I would. I think I'd be like, let's not do this.
Right. This is a bad idea.
Yeah.
I would be totally upfront and be like, listen, I had a thing with him. It makes me a little uncomfortable. I'm glad you're together. I'm not going to go after him, but I just feel like I need to tell you that history.
I actually,
before things get weird,
am kind of a snake and would be like, if I befriend her, I have a better chance of ruining her. So honestly, that's probably what I would do. But John Dee doesn't do that. John Dee's an innocent little soul. She's a little lamb.
So she's like, well, she said I got to be your dating coach, so I guess I have to be.
She's like, this is what someone gave me a directive. That is what I respond to. And they're like, yeah, and her real best friend is like, also like, okay, we're friends with this girl now.
I guess we're friends with her. So then it comes up in casual conversation, and Monkey's like, well, have you ever had a crush on somebody? And John Dee point blank describes June Pugh without using his name.
Well, he has an amazing perm. He's a total jerk.
He's the head of Shinhwa Group.
He can't tell anyone's wrists apart.
And Monkey, oblivious.
Monkey's like, well, he sounds fun. I've never met anyone like that.
So then back in school, Junpyo, again, this is one of those scenes the first time I watched it where I had to rewind like 50 times because I just felt so many feelings about it. He's basically, you can tell, he's waiting around to just bump into John D. And they're like on these columns. Well, she finally walks by. She ignores him. Mm-hmm. And she just keeps walking. And then finally she can hear him following her. So she turns around and she's like, what do you want? She like snaps at him. Finally.
Yeah,
like he deserves.
And everybody's like, clap, finally.
Like, finally.
Get it, girl.
And he says, why don't you swim anymore? And you can tell that this has been weighing on his mind since Macau. And again, you just fall in love with him.
And them, and the whole thing, and all their history,
it's
and
beautiful.
That stupid model storyline that made this moment happen. You're like, oh, I guess I like it now.
And so she just basically spits at him, I quit, and that's it. Nothing else.
Because she's too proud to tell him.
She's way too
proud. And she cares about him too much to tell him that it's his fault.
And so
it's not his fault. It's her for following around a model she didn't know.
John D, it really comes down to your brain.
It is your fault, John D.
And so there's just tension in the air, and there's some other things said. Well, Fabio shows up, and he can sense the emotional turmoil in the air. And so he's like, well, get on my bike, and we're going to go over somewhere.
We're Audi 5000.
Wherever you want to go. And freaking Monkey shows up and says, oh, is this the boy that you had a crush on?
In front of all of them.
In front of Junpyo. So now Junpyo is mad and jealous, and he's hurt because clearly she's not swimming, and he thinks it's because of him, but he still doesn't have final confirmation. Fabio's getting his hopes up, but he's like, well, I don't know, there's still emotional turmoil. Monkey's just like, isn't life special?
I'm so happy I could bring all of us together right now. Which also credit to Junpyo. The whole time he's like, I don't like you. Right. I don't want to date you, Monkey. I am not interested at all. And she's like, no.
I wish I had a friend named Monkey. It's like the most fun name ever. Like, get away from me, Monkey.
Monkey and Bangs. That's our girl gang.
It's so great. So they end up leaving. Thank God, right? Because
they go to his beautiful glass house.
I don't remember where they go.
I don't either.
But F3 decides that this whole monkey engagement thing is bonkers, and they need to stop it immediately. And so they come up with this ridiculous plan to set up Pottery Guy and Real Best Friend, and then tell John D. I think it's like Gangster Guy.
Okay.
Is telling John D. like, he doesn't have good intentions. Mm-hmm. You better stop this date before the wink unthinkable happens.
It's like a full-on 12th Night Shakespeare scenario.
Yes.
Bait
and of course, he's like, the only person who can stop him is Junpyo. You better call him. Mm-hmm. So then she freaking goes because she loves her real best friend. I would call Junpyo for you, I would call Junpyo not for you, Megan.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And she calls Junpyo and she's like, we have an emergency. You have to come. So basically, they're spying on Real Best Friend and Pottery Guy having a date, which means that Junpyo and John D are having a date.
Why would Junpyo go along with this?
I don't know. You can tell he's like over it, but he just likes being with her.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Also, I said 12th Night. I meant Much Ado About Nothing.
Yes.
Obviously.
And when you said 12th Night, I was like, I love 12th Night, but that's fine. I don't think it's 12th Night.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
It's great.
It's an unnecessary reference.
Folks, go read you some Shakespeare.
You should read Shakespeare.
There's some great storylines there.
Stuff. Anyway, I'm saying this because they convinced this guy that this girl's cheating on him because they like put another lady in a tower that looks kind of like her from behind.
Mm-hmm. Anyway. So they go on this great date following a fake couple having a fake date.
That ends in a hotel if I don't...
It does. So, well, it's kind of sweet because at one point they're like outside, and we all know that Junpyo is not immune to the cold weather. And so there are fireworks, and he does the epic back hug with the coat.
Junpyo does?
And he like snuggles in with her because it's cold, and he tries to give her his jacket. Well, then he gets cold, so she's like, well, take your jacket, and they like share it.
Man, the monkey years are some of the most romantic episodes.
Right?
I'm remembering.
It's so great. So it does. It ends at a hotel. Of course, Pottery Guy's like, let's make them believe that the real sin is happening in this hotel room.
Which honestly, Real Best Friend Why not, girl?
I mean, you're in your...
You like him.
If you're in college, you're in your 20s.
Him.
You gotta explore that safely sometime. You already know he practices safe sex.
Also,
you're gonna be fine.
and this is a K-drama, so he just wants to kiss.
Right.
Make out.
He just wants to play a solo for you.
He just wants to
in front of a
perform.
nice romantic fire.
Amen.
Everything's gonna be fine. So Junpyu is just again going along with it, and they're like in the next room. I don't remember.
sorry.
They're the worst spies ever. Because
It
they're
is
just
so
out in the
weird.
open at all times.
They're like, eye to the keyhole, ear to the door. Can you hear anything? No. Can you hear anything? No. Can you hear anything? That's literally what it is.
It's the greatest.
Then don't they get a room?
Yes. Well, then his mom shows up, and she's like, "I will not stand for this. That's my impersonation."
That was really good.
Thank you. I don't even think that's the direct translation
I
of
will
what she says.
not stand for this.
And so she calls John D like some of the rudest
Mom throws
names
down.
ever.
Because she's been a horrible, horrible, awful person already, but then you're just like face to face with her and she just, gloves come off.
I mean, you meet with the cat, you get the claws. You don't mess with
no
Mama
one knows
Cat.
that better than Megan. Constantly covered in scratches.
His hands are covered in
I just
cat
love me
scratches.
some kittens.
So it pretty much, again, ends with security guards dragging away Junpyu because his mom's like, "You're supposed to be watching over the company, and you're out philandering with
I'm sorry,
this
but
poor girl."
if this woman is like a conglomerate, brilliant businesswoman, she would never have given Junpyu this company to begin with because he is incompetent.
Also, he's like 17.
Also, he's, yes, a child, a literal child.
So we're cruising right along here. Next episode, John D's family's in so much debt, they have to move.
This is one of my favorite twists because it's like the most bizarre thing.
It's just a way of getting her alone more often to be with Junpyu.
Basically, what little parental supervision she already had, they were like, this is too much. Her parents are smothering her. Get him out of here. They like go to the coast to become fishermen.
Right, they go to like a tiny fishing village.
But
you need to keep little brother with you.
you should raise your brother. Because it's just, we're going to be working all the time.
So, in order to keep making money, she picks up all of her parents' old jobs, including cleaning like this orchestra hall where Fabio often frequents.
It's like his grandparents paid for it or something.
Who knows? And so he sees her.
Have we established that he's a classically trained violinist?
I think so.
Okay. He's a classically trained violinist.
Yeah.
Why don't they start a band? We have a violinist sax. Gangster sings the Almost Paradise. We know he's got chops. Junpyu's useless. But
Junpyu's
that's
the money
nothing
guy.
new.
He can front the band.
Seriously, I would listen to that.
And so it's kind of sweet because he sees her struggling. He stays late to help her clean. Well, then she has to go to the bathroom because she's a human being.
Yes.
And he's walked in on her before.
So
he's
she's
like,
fine with it.
I'm going to give you some space.
Yeah.
You go potty.
Doesn't she like pass?
She
out
does.
or
So after a while, he gets worried and he makes the classic Fabio mistake. He walks in the bathroom. Well, thank God she's not in the toilet this time. She's on the floor.
She's so exhausted.
Yes. She has overworked herself into exhaustion.
Very common K-drama thing.
So he brings her to his glass house, which is really sweet,
The
might
house
I
is
add.
awesome.
And she's in bed, and a doctor comes, and the doctor's like, she just needs to rest. She's exhausted.
Better give her an IV.
And so the doctor leaves, and he picks up her hand, and she's got like a scratch on her finger, so he kisses it. Well, Junpyu just happens to swing in for a visit.
This
at
is
that
the
exact
problem with
moment.
having a house made entirely of glass. People can see everything you do from outside.
And so he gets mad, and he goes to his car, and he throws this epic fit, and he's crying and hitting the steering wheel. And whenever something bad in my life happens, I send Megan this gif of Lee Min-ho in his car like
beating the
crying.
car. Because again, he hasn't learned to just deal with things.
Right.
He needs to just not deal with them and then get angry when they don't go his way.
Right. So Junpyu, witnessed Fabio kissing John D's finger.
She's unconscious, by the way.
Finger. Yes, finger. I need to say it one more time. Her finger.
Where was it, though?
Her finger.
Oh, right.
So the next day at school, Junpyu's like, I'm going to be an adult. It's time to let John D go. She's happy with Fabio. I saw him kissing her
Like we
finger.
believe that could ever happen.
And so he gets mad Monkey, because he's like, fine, we'll date, but don't be so clingy. Like, what can I do to not make you so clingy? And she's like, well, you could kiss me. So he does. He kisses her on the lips in school.
At least John D doesn't see.
Oh, wait, she does, Megan.
No. Timing is everything for these people.
A, Monkey is conscious. B, it's her lips, not her finger.
Yeah, it's a pretty
John D has a reason to be
sweet-looking
upset
kiss
here.
Yeah, because again, John D didn't know about the finger.
She doesn't know.
John D doesn't know anything that's ever happened to her.
That finger got played like the sax.
Yep.
She has no clue.
Wait a minute. Can I ask a quick question? Has evil mom bought her parents' house yet?
That's
later.
coming,
Okay. Sorry. That was like a total.
I think that's it's coming. It's
okay.
coming. So anyway, she gets mad. Fabio's like, here, and he like turns her around and gives her a hug, and he's like, that way you can't see what's happening.
I also feel like at this point, none of us believe she's ever going to be into Fabio again.
No.
She is so far into June Pugh.
Never. And so they leave, and they go to a restaurant. Guess who shows up at the restaurant?
Not Monkey and June
Pugh
Pugh.
and Monkey.
Come on.
What are the
Give us a
flipping
break,
chances?
fate. Do you know whenever I've had a crush on anyone, I never ran into them.
And if I did, it was like early
at Sam's Club.
Yeah, early Sunday morning, no makeup, haven't showered, and my mom's like, can you just run the store and grab some milk? And he's like,
seriously.
Oh, there's my crush.
Yes.
Yep. Thank you, universe.
Yeah, exactly.
So they run in the same restaurant, and there's this like prize where if you eat a jumbo ramen and you're a woman and you can eat it in 20 minutes, you win 50 free ramens. Well, John D is poor, and she doesn't have parents, and she really wants this prize, and Monkey can tell by looking at her, which is great, because Monkey can't tell anything other
Monkey
time of the show.
No perception.
And so Monkey does it, and everybody's amazed, and I think even June Pugh at this point's like, Monkey's pretty cool.
Because Monkey is cool.
Yeah.
She is arguably a nice person.
Yes.
You can't dislike her. I mean, you can, because again, she's super annoying.
Right.
But it's like in that way, it's like, yeah, it's in a way that you can't fault her for. She just has a weird personality.
Exactly. So she says, I won this, and now you guys all owe me, you have to grant my wish. Mm-hmm. Guess what her wish is?
Don't tell me.
She wants to go on a vacation.
Wait a minute. These people hate vacations. It's not their solution for everything.
So they go on a couples trip.
To where? I don't remember this at all.
It's
no memory.
It's an undisclosed location, but it's at a luxurious hotel.
As it always is.
So I think it could even be a staycation. They might just rent a hotel sometime. Oh, you will. So the first night there, Monkey pulls John D aside, and she's like, I bought these couple rings. And inside of the ring, it's engraved J&J, which are Monkey and June Pugh's initials. Also, John D and June Pugh's initials. So John D's thinking about, well, my initials are on that necklace, just like that. So to contemplate her life, she goes to the pool, which is where she's medically told to not be.
Avoid the pool at all costs.
And she's holding the necklace and looking at the engraving. Of course, she drops it.
Okay, I vaguely remember this part.
Into the pool.
She's sitting on like a tall rock formation in the pool,
yes.
if I remember correctly.
It's like a waterfall in an inside pool.
Yeah.
And what does she do? Instead of asking a helpful hotel staff member,
it's a pool.
Help,
it's not going anywhere.
No, there's nobody else at this pool.
No.
Nobody's going to swim down and grab it.
No.
There's no wildlife that's going to take off with it.
No.
She can see it. The water is clear.
Yes.
No, she decides to just jump in.
She's like, that no swimming thing can only mean like not in an emergency, probably.
Well, guess what? She starts to drown.
And of course, it's not just like you probably shouldn't swim because it's bad for you. It's like you physically cannot swim. Your body can no longer make the movements required to swim.
Which, okay, guys, I'm sorry. I was a lifeguard for 8 years of my life. I'm passionate about water safety. Like, passionate. Actually, my high school newspaper, my college newspaper interviewed me because I had been a lifeguard there for 4 years. And they're like, what made you become a lifeguard? And I was like, I'm
passionate about water.
Vivid memory of being a child. And I was terrified of the water. I was terrified. And I was like, well, if I become a lifeguard, I can save people from the water.
Becca.
Which is why I became a lifeguard.
And how do you sum up Becca in one story? That is the most Becca thing I've ever heard.
And So, and in the end, I love swimming. But I'm telling you, a human being, you cannot have a whole limb and still swim fine.
Well, and also she can do everything else with all her limbs. It's just like when she's apparently horizontal, she can't put her arm over her head. That's it.
Any sort of liquid
It's
on her
super
skin.
specific. The way this chair hit her was like a super specific thing that just broke this one movement.
But again, common sense tells you this is asinine.
Yes.
But your romantic, emotional
You're
side
like,
is like,
oh
oh
no,
my gosh, she
John
can't
D, not
swim.
swimming. Anything but swimming. He'll understand. Just let the necklace go.
Well, she goes down like the Titanic.
Although he would never understand.
There's no hope here for John D. Well, all of a sudden, she's on the pool deck. Somebody had saved her.
And this will not be the last time that happens.
And it's June frickin' Pugh, who can't swim.
The tracking device went off.
So this is, okay, again, we are making fun of it because we love it so much. We fully promote and endorse this drama.
I've
I've
watched it more times than any other drama.
And so, okay, so then she says, June Pugh, you can't swim. And his exact phrase to her is, I would rather drown than let somebody else save John D.
Why is that romantic?
I don't know.
It's literally like she could be like a SWAT team is waiting to go in and save her, and he'd be like, don't you dare. I'm going into this horribly dangerous situation. You stay here. Nobody saves John D except me.
And so then there's this like 10-minute montage of him learning to swim because he can't swim and she can swim, and Fabio saved her once.
How many people have learned to swim for you, Becca?
None.
None for me either.
And it's just amazing. So then, of course, Monkey and Fabio show up, and this is again where I'm thinking, what? They are fully dressed. Like they're going out to dinner. June Pugh's just in swim trunks. So he just happened to be going for a swim when
he wears them under his clothes all the time because he knows that dum-dum's gonna try to get into a pool sometime.
And then it's like a Velcro suit. It just rips off in an emergency.
It's like yes.
And so he hands her to Fabio, and it's this great moment of like,
did she get the necklace out?
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, kind of. So there's this great moment of he's like, I'm entrusting her to you.
Like, I know I can't have
my
her.
fiance is here.
P.S. If she ever gets hurt, I still have to be the one to save
I
her.
have to save her.
Still.
But you can take her.
She's yours.
Take her now, make sure she's medically cleared.
Yeah.
I don't want to be responsible for all that
But not by a
paperwork.
doctor, because we don't do that here.
So she leaves. Well, Monkey spots something shiny on the pool deck, and it's the necklace. And she picks it up, and she sees J&J. And you can finally tell that Monkey realizes, oh, they must have had feelings for each other at some point. It's taken her like 8 episodes.
And they're like constantly searching each other's eyes for the meaning of life.
Well, she gets it. So we go in the next episode. She realizes that they have a history. She's mad at herself for not realizing it sooner. The next morning, this is where I remember thinking, gosh, Monkey's kind of mean. She indicates at breakfast that her and Jupune had a big night.
Ugh,
like,
Monkey,
wink, wink.
come on.
And then, obviously, she's trying to plant inappropriate thoughts into John D's head.
Which will work because John D just directive taken.
And so she says, like, oh, he left early because he was embarrassed about everything that we experienced last night. Which is the truth. He did leave early, but not for that specific reason.
They weren't even staying in the same room.
And so, later that episode, she ends up giving him those J&J rings. And she basically says, will you put it on my finger? And there's this moment where you think he might actually do it. But then seeing the J&J, he gets really flustered. And he's like, I have to go somewhere. So he gets up. And of all places, he goes to visit Pottery Guy.
Because he's an expert on romance.
Expert on love. And they have a real heart-to-heart. And Pottery Guy is like, well, clearly you love her. You're just an idiot. And then he says, you know that she can't swim because of you, right? And he tells him the whole story.
And P.S., you already told him that.
He just gives him more details.
Yeah.
He just really wants to bury it and hit it hard. So then they get mad at each other, of course.
Who?
Pottery Guy and June Pugh.
Always.
Because there's this whole storyline, too, where Pottery Guy can no longer potter.
Wait, he can't?
It's like in a fight and somebody smashes his hand. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, because his dad's a lech.
Yes.
His dad's like a disgusting monster.
And so I cut out that whole storyline.
Yeah.
But anyway, when Junpyu happens upon Pottery Guy, he's feeling real sorry for himself. And so he's comparing the fact that he got hurt and he can't.
Pottery Guy hits rock bottom so fast, so often.
And he can't mold clay anymore to John Dee hurting herself and not being able to
like
swim
protecting
anymore.
the man she loves.
So anyway, John Dee and her little brother now. Let's go back to them.
Little brother.
They need to find a place to live. Well, they find this rooftop apartment. Pretty crappy. Pretty shabby.
Junpyu's mom bought their old apartment and, turned it into, I don't know, they had to leave. They got evicted. And then her parents moved. And they found this horrible, ramshackle, terrible apartment.
But they agree, we're gonna make the best of it.
It'll do.
They're cute and adorable and positive people. Well, the next morning they wake up and Junpyu is their neighbor. And
he's bought the apartment across from them.
Yes, across the next roof. And he's like, well, I was just looking for a place to stay.
Just wanted some peace and quiet. If you're trying to forget her and move on with your life, you're doing terribly.
Who is giving you this advice? It's terrible life advice.
He doesn't have the smartest team around him.
So she has to teach him to cook ramen, and then one night he's screaming and she runs over and there's a bug in his apartment.
Right.
Because he's never been uncomfortable in his life, and she's just trying to teach him
all of this
about
is
the
just
school of hard knocks.
Making us love him more because he would give up his cozy life to live like this for her, and you're like, oh, no one's given up their cozy life to live like this for me. No one's learned to swim for me.
It's a whole thing. So then
no one's waited outside in the cold for more than an hour for me.
The cold over it.
I mean, that's beautiful.
So in the next episode, we're flying now because these episodes get real boring.
They
in my
are really,
opinion.
really, really lame.
Monkey convinces Junpyu to go grocery shopping. Apparently, they don't have staff for that anymore. Totally kidding. They do, but she just wants to get him out of the house. It's about a ton of stuff. And then he finds out that she's buying it for John Dee, which is, again, where I'm like, Monkey, now I like you again.
Monkey is so nice.
I don't understand why you have this little evil mean streak in you. So they drop the supplies off. They share ramen with John Dee and her little brother. Junpyu's mother shows up at her door then and, threatens to pretty much ruin her life.
Did Junpyu hear it?
In, the nicest voice ever. It's very calm.
She's very calculating.
Yeah, it's kind of terrifying. And then just says, you have to stay away from him. You do not have a choice. This is my last warning. So John Dee's like, okay, whatever. So then F3 and Real Best Friend give her a makeover to her house. They, get her out of the house, and they do, wallpaper and paint. Oh,
yeah. And it's so sweet.
It's so sweet. And they have this, little dinner party, and Monkey convinces Junpyu to, get out of the house. Well, they end up going to this little dinner party at her shabby little rooftop apartment. And the tension is real.
It is great.
It's insane.
It is so good.
So they end up eating dinner and then playing Truth or Dare.
Which, great decision to avoid drama.
Yeah. Oh, and Fabio says to Junpyu, if the one that you love is troubled because of you, could you let her go? And it's clear who they're all talking about.
Although at least two people in this room probably have no idea.
And Junpyu responds with, no, I won't. I can't. And then he looks right at John Dee because it's not obvious enough who this conversation is about. And he says, does the promise that we made still stand? Referring to when they were on the road and kissing. And he said, please don't run away because of my mother.
Right.
And she's like, I promise I'll never run away because of her. And John Dee says, oh, it's so beautiful. She says, no, the person who made the promise and the one who asked me it are both gone now. Oh my God.
I thought you were going to say she turns to everyone and goes, I wonder who he's talking about.
It's so beautiful. Well, then the next morning, she wakes up to an earthquake, but it's not an earthquake. His mother is tearing down her apartment
Just
building.
when you thought, this woman can't get more evil. She's tearing down the building while they're sleeping in it.
Her little brother is still there.
Poor kid.
It
didn't do anything wrong.
And so they come out, and the construction crew's like, you gotta go.
Oh, you guys were here?
I mean, we could take a quick 15-minute union-approved break, but we got work to do.
Who would live in this place? We thought it was abandoned.
So the episode ends with her having to, ship her brother off to where he
his
belongs.
parents are, yeah.
To go to this tiny village with her parents. So now she seriously has nothing.
Just wait, though. Just wait. Just wait till she gets a job.
He has nothing. So next episode. I didn't remember this part until I was going through my notes. She's wandering the streets homeless. Because her life is
who has a crap load of rich friends.
She's too proud.
She is.
Even real best friend has to have a house.
Real best friend seems financially stable. I mean, real best friend is never like, wandering the streets homeless.
So she's too proud to ask for help. She tries to like create a little bed for herself in this tunnel and gets run off.
God,
by,
in
like,
this train station?
Yeah, but like a belligerent homeless guy.
Truly terrifying.
Yes.
It's extremely upsetting.
And so after hours of walking the streets, she collapses again from exhaustion.
But that's never happened before.
She's not listening to any of these doctors because she's never conscious, and her friends are clearly not telling her the advice that the doctor is saying while she's unconscious. Questionable things are happening. So a worried crowd gathers around her, and her phone starts ringing. And so a woman from the crowd, a helpful bystander, picks it up and she's like, hello? This woman just passed out.
Do you know her?
Do you know who you're calling? And guess what? It's June Pugh's older sister.
Weird.
She's back in the game now.
And calling John D for some reason.
Right at the nick of time. So when John D finally becomes conscious again, she's in June Pugh's house. And his sister is like, well, you can just stay here until you get your life sorted out. Knowing that will be never.
Right.
And John D's like, well, at least let me work. So she goes, okay, well, Grandma's here. She's overseeing the house staff.
Guys, just when you thought it couldn't get dumber.
And yet, I love it.
Oh,
even
it's great.
More.
What is the only thing I want? John D to be in that house and accessible to June Pugh 24/7. That's like a brilliant, perfect romantic thing. How are we going to do it? We're going to make her a maid.
Not just any maid. Grandma makes her June Pugh's personal servant.
For, again, his mother, for a woman who oversees a massive corporation, does not pay any attention to what's going on in her own home because this is precisely what she did not want.
So it's, again, nothing to do with the storyline, but June Pugh's at breakfast and reading the paper, and he's like bossing the staff around like he does. And all of a sudden, his grandma speaks up, and he looks up and he goes, oh my gosh. And he's like, I thought you were dead.
Which is so funny.
Which is to let you know, Grandma has not been in the picture. She's just shown up too.
Yeah.
It's great. So
I thought you were dead.
Then Grandma's like, let me introduce you to your new servant. And then he sees John D. She is so embarrassed, and he loves every second of it.
And she is wearing a little French maid getup. They take it all the way in this household. Like, she has on like the little black dress, the little white apron, the little white hat, and
There's
like a
lace.
feather duster. Again, if she didn't know June Pugh, I'd be a little worried she'd wander into another weird child sex trafficking thing. Because it is an odd choice of
It's
uniform.
very specific. They must have a lot of money because it looks pricey.
It's pretty cosplay. It's a lot.
So he pretty much bosses her
Surprise,
around.
surprise. June Pugh is into it. Because this is like every kink he's probably ever had. He can literally tell her to do whatever he wants, and she has to do it because she is employed by him.
It's great. It's great.
It is great.
So one of my favorite scenes is he tells her to go make him her famous ramen. So she does, and then he refuses it because she makes it fancy. And he's like, I want it like commoners want it. I want it in a gold pot with no garnishes and chopsticks. And then she brings it back. He can tell she's exhausted, so he makes her sit in a recliner, and he's like, you will sit there until I finish it.
It's really lovely.
And of course, she falls asleep, so he like puts the footstool up, and he covers her up with a blanket.
He's so happy.
He's so happy that she's there. Well, Grandma's peeking in. She sees the tenderness happening. She loves it.
Because look at this, June Pugh's becoming a human.
It's so great.
It is really.
It's just the best. So we're going to zoom through these next 2 episodes because really only one important thing happens. And that is a wedding.
Yeah, we will say her time as a maid is worth watching because like there's a really great kiss and like the secret rendezvous thing and all this good stuff. But we won't get into it because that stuff's actually good. So why make fun of it?
Yeah, we're not going to make fun of it. There's also a scene where they're hanging out in his room and Monkey comes in.
Yeah, she wants to watch a movie.
He makes her. Well, no, he doesn't even make her. I think he's like, let's just be honest. Let's just tell Monkey you're here. And she's like, no, I'm so embarrassed. Hides. So she hides in this tiny cupboard in his closet. Well, Monkey wants to watch a movie. So they end up watching this movie, and Junpyu's like totally distracted. And by the time that he finally finds her, she'd fallen asleep crumpled in this closet.
So cute.
And he takes such good care of her. Guys, go watch this episode.
You're like, God, he loves her so much. Why? No one knows.
It's the best. So the next episode is this elusive wedding. We're not talking about Meghan Markle and Harry here.
No.
We're talking about Junpyu and Munkle.
Munkle.
And
Monkey. Munkle is the funniest word I've ever heard. You just invented a word.
Munkle. When we write our K-drama, can one of the characters' names be Munkle?
Yes.
It's so good.
All I can think of is monocle, and so now I'm thinking of Monopoly. That's where we went with that.
Munkle can have a monocle. That would be the best thing ever. So there's a wedding.
Yeah, because they're still engaged. We've never called this off.
They're together.
Oh, and you go to Jeju Island.
You go to Jeju Island. It's beautiful.
It's awesome.
The location's beautiful. Monkey looks beautiful.
Yeah.
It's this whole thing.
And Monkey has gotten pretty hardcore now, though, where she's, like, not going to give up Junpyu.
Yeah.
She knows
really
what's going on, and
him.
she is not going to give him up.
Yeah.
And for some reason, he's, like, gonna go through with it. Even though he and John D seem to be finally working things out, right?
Well, I think the funniest part is he's trying so hard to come up with ways to get out of it.
Yeah.
But his mom is basically threatened John. Like it has to happen or bad things. Like, she's already put her parents' business out of business.
Demolished
then she
two of her homes.
I mean, his mom's crazy.
She has unlimited funds and can do anything.
It's really, really bad. All right. And this is where, again, I just think I can't do this anymore. So there's a wedding. He's trying to do everything possible to get out of it. He corners John D.
So angsty.
And he's like, tell me not to do this. Tell me to not get married. And she doesn't say anything.
Because she's John D.
And then in the next episode, I'm flying now because these episodes frustrate me to no degree. He puts his arm out to gangster friend and he's like, break it.
Oh yeah,
He's like, break my arm and then I won't be able to get married right now. Like I may have to get married, but at least have another day or two.
Oh, I'm remembering what happened.
To get married.
Oh my God, I just remembered what happens.
It's just awful. Well, then they finally are in the church.
So much angst.
The wedding is happening.
You as a viewer are just dying inside because like there's no way out of this.
They look beautiful.
There's
they
no
look
way
like
out
the
of this.
perfect
and
couple.
Isn't John D like a bridesmaid?
She's there, man. She's got a front seat to this disaster of a wedding.
Why would you show up to this, you dope?
I don't know.
Have some self-respect.
Well, finally, Monkey shows her good side. And Monkey's like, we can't do this.
She won't marry him.
And it's lovely.
Finally, we could have saved a lot of time and money, Monkey, but...
Right.
It's great.
This
because it honestly, and the way
ago.
she's so forceful about how she's going to go through with it until this point, you're like, there's no way out of this wedding. You have no idea what's going to happen.
Well, it happens.
She gets out of it. Or he gets out of it.
So then, again, this is where you're like, all right, the show cannot get any more bonkers.
I don't even remember what happens
You
next.
finally think, this is, okay, when I tell you, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot that this happened. So...
What episode are we on?
23.
Of 26?
25.
25.
So there's this whole thing. Again, you think they finally can be happy together. They're not, because Junpyu and Fabio are still kind of fighting. There's tension. Fabio really wants John D. Well, clearly Junpyu does. And now there's like an open runway here, minus the crazy mother. Well, I'm just fast forwarding. Something bad happens to Fabio where somebody wants to hurt him really bad. So they get in a car. They are zooming down. They're going to hit him. They're going to hit him in this alleyway.
I don't remember this at all.
Junpyu jumps in front of the car, gets hit by a car.
Oh!
Do you remember now?
God.
Wakes up
Oh my God.
in the hospital. Guys, this is the original K-drama trope of he has amnesia.
Don't even say that word to me. You know what? I have selective amnesia for the parts in dramas where characters get amnesia.
And he can't remember John D.
But I'm sure he remembers everything else that's happened to him.
Happily ever after is just flying away. So then there's this whole, again, I'm zooming through. There's this other girl that shows up. She's starting to learn things about John D, so she starts acting like John D.
She like meets him in the hospital.
Yes, and she starts making like the same lunch boxes that John D made for him, and she kind of looks like John D.
Sucks.
And so when he starts to regain his memory, she kind of taints it to like paint
no, you're
picture
remembering
of her.
me.
Yeah. Well, okay. Long story short, he realizes it's not. Takes a long time, guys. These episodes are painful. Again, you want to watch them,
and there's, oh God, the lead up is so worth it.
It's so good. And so
for the pool,
when they finally remember, it's great and romantic, and this other girl gets what she deserves.
It's so
because
good.
I think they get engaged then. Doesn't he propose to her?
No, I don't know if they propose, but they're like gonna announce they're dating at this big pool party.
They're gonna move together.
They're
She's
gonna move in
with
together.
him.
That's right. They have this huge party around a pool, and of course John D gets invited, and so she shows up, and
in a pretty in pink dress.
She looks very pretty in pink.
Yes.
And has he remembered by this?
So she has the necklace, I think.
He like suddenly remembers.
And she goes, "Tell me you don't remember me. I think she says, when you remember my name, say it." And so she like backs up to the edge of the water and just falls in. And of course, it's 2 feet of water, guys.
Right. But she's banking on the instinct that Junpyo's like, girl in water must jump in and save.
And so it takes him forever, but then finally
she definitely
John
would
D.
have drowned for as long as it takes her.
And he jumps in and saves her.
And then he's like, "Hey, crazy hospital girl, you're a psychopath." And she's like, "Oh, yeah, I am." You got me.
It's so great.
It's
but
great.
After he pulls her out, and I think he even has to do unnecessary CPR, which is great because
we're all waiting for it. We're all like, finally.
She finally smiles and says, "Do you remember now?" And he's like, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And you die inside.
I'm melting just thinking about it. It's been like 2 years since I watched this episode.
It's so great. So this is the last episode. But then you like fast forward.
I hate the last episode.
It's bonkers because all of a sudden she's a doctor.
They go to medical school.
This precious dum-dum is a doctor, and she works full-time every day with Fabio.
Oh, they're not. Yeah, it's not just she's a doctor. They're all doctors.
If I had a nickel for all the friends I have
that are doctors,
I would have 0 nickels.
I guess if you are a doctor, you would have more doctor friends than you do if you're not a doctor. But
think.
like, I feel like you didn't grow up with a whole bunch of friends that all became doctors.
Right, exactly.
I don't remember anything else about the last episode other than
there's a giant time hop. They're all doctors. And at the end, he proposes.
He's really mean to her, though. I feel like I'm waiting for this like really romantic ending. But I figured like you had amnesia. You like got through that and now you've been together and now you're happy. And for some reason your mom's not trying to kill John D anymore. But he's just like tells her how stupid she is all the time.
Yeah.
And there's like a...
If you're waiting for the gooey rush, like romantic moment.
You don't get it.
The only one you get is the pool scene, I think.
And it's great. And that's a great scene. But I almost feel like that should have been the end then. Because...
So watch them kiss after the pool, and then just turn it off. I don't think you need the fast forward.
It works out.
Yeah.
Also, something that's always bothered me is they built up real best friend and pottery guy like he was gonna like finally realize that he couldn't go on living the way he was living, and he was gonna see he had this like really special, spectacular girl right there. No. It's kind of like one of those things where he's like, "Don't get attached to me, okay?" And she's like, I mean, thanks for the heads up. Because she's clearly in love with him. And he like, we didn't even get into it, but he like really screws her up a couple of times.
He's messy.
She like goes to take him a Valentine and he's with 2 other women who brought him Valentines. And he's like, just put it with the rest of them or something like that. It's like, oh, come on. Especially because real best friend is a stunner.
Yeah,
she's so pretty.
She's beautiful. And she clearly has a little more money than John D. And a lot more common sense.
She is the best character in the show. Aside from the like quietly listening to that saxophone. But again, I rewatched it. I don't think you could say she liked it based on her facial expressions. I think more than anything, she was like us where she was like, what is happening? So confused.
All right, guys. That's it. That's Boys Over Flowers.
That's Boys Over. That's like the abridged version of Boys Over Flowers.
And I feel like we still talked about it forever.
There's
so much that happens in this darn show.
It is an emotional roller coaster. It's so much fun. Ending. It's dumb and terrible in the best way.
So it's like our great friend, baffled at myself in the Great White North, started an email to us about Boys Over Flowers with the sentence, "He sucks and I'm in love."
Yes.
That's exactly what it is.
Seriously, we should just write the synopsis for shows because that would just be the whole synopsis. Mm-hmm. He is the worst person and he is the best person. He just makes you melt.
He owns you.
Huge credit to Lee Min-ho. I'm sure we're not the only ones. This was their first Lee Min-ho experience and it made them a Lee Min-ho fan for the rest of their lives.
Forever.
Also, who would have thought, okay, you fall for him with that hair, you truly love him, but then, guys, if you haven't Googled him lately, he is aging very well. He is a whole meal. He's so gorgeous. He's stupid good looking.
He is a national treasure.
Somebody posted some pictures of him recently on Instagram, and I hadn't actively searched for Lee Min-ho in a while. That changed. Because he is so handsome. You know what? Maybe he's not. Maybe he's normal handsome. But because he's such a good actor and he plays such iconic, great characters and creates these incredible characters that he just becomes this perfect visual in my head. I don't even know anymore. I can't separate them anymore.
He is
I feel
beautiful.
Like initially I didn't watch Boys Over Flowers because I'm shallow and I was like, I'm not attracted to any of these guys. And that's how I choose TV. But then when I watched
it's a 25-hour show. You have to
go in with a little hook.
Yeah.
We say though, I think our final recommendation would be, it is so much fun. It really does just reel you in and you really feel deep feelings during the show. And it's angsty but funny and goofy, and the fact that it's over the top almost made it easier for me to digest some of this stuff. And it's of a time, I feel where the amnesia and all that stuff, it kind of invented that stuff.
Right.
For me anyway.
So my husband watched this was my second K-drama ever.
What was your first? Oh, Pasta.
And so my husband happened to come in one night and I was watching the episode where he was trying to get out of his wedding and he put his wrist down and he told Gangster Guy, just break it. And my husband came in from work and he stopped and he goes, what is this? Just that one scene where it's that is such
it's so
gangster
intense
thing to do.
And that's okay, he not only learned to swim for this woman, he would have someone break his wrist so that he doesn't have to be without her. That's not healthy in real life, everyone. Emphasis on don't do that. Show your love in other ways.
But in this situation,
dang, that is hot.
We are fine with it. All right, so we have 3 minutes left. We need to give some shout outs really quick to some of our listeners.
Oh my gosh, we've gotten the best messages.
We have gotten the best emails lately. And I'm sorry that we haven't had an opportunity to personally get back to all of you. We're going to do it tonight, or at least discuss what we're going to send back tonight. So we had a great listener contact us asking if we really wanted to know the meaning of Bebe.
Yeah, answer yes, always.
And she was so sweet because she was like, this is awkward because I don't really know you guys, but you seem cool, and it's kind of explicit, and I don't want to just send you explicit stuff if you don't want to know. And Megan, I forget what you wrote back, but you were like, yes,
we were
please.
Yeah. I think I said, you should hear how we talk about fan fictions when we're not recording. There's no such thing as awkward anymore.
So we learned a supposed true meaning of the song Bebe by Big Bang. And
it's far deeper than I expected.
Also, it's great. It's great in the way of a little unexpected. Not that much unexpected.
No. I feel there were I mean, okay. Have you seen the video?
Yeah.
Clearly there are.
So we originally compared it to drugs. Where we're like, well, we think this song is supposed to depict this drug and this.
Right.
And this is more of a sexual connotation to
like
it.
stages of intercourse.
Yes. But it was amazing. So, dear listener, thank you.
Yeah, that was eye-opening.
It was.
I just want you to know, we were both like, of course that's Day Song.
Day Songs is by far my favorite.
I love Day Song.
We also had a listener from the Philippines. I'm sorry, I'm blanking because we got so many great emails. But she was basically like, or Brazil, where she was like, love your podcast. It's so fun. You guys are funny. And then she said, you do talk about BTS a lot.
And it was like, you
right.
are correct. We're trying to deal with it. I don't know if we can. She also gave us a link to an awesome K-pop chart. Like, it's like music to get us exposed to more stuff so that we don't get lost in our little bubble.
And I want you to know, I've been checking it out very regularly.
Yeah.
And we have actually coming up a couple of podcasts dedicated to music.
So, and not BTS.
Won't be just BTS. So, thank you for that email. You were so kind.
It was awesome hearing from you.
We loved hearing from you as well. And then I feel like we got one more great email, and I'm totally blanking on what it was.
We got one from a fellow Midwesterner.
Yes,
which was awesome. And then also a lady who, she and her daughter are both really into K-pop and K-dramas.
Oh my gosh.
We're seriously, we have so much we want to say to you guys. We're going to respond to you as soon as we can, like, sit down and properly craft a response.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's been awesome talking with you guys.
And I feel your pain, especially having, I have young children. They just like the music. They don't watch the dramas yet. So I can't imagine having a child and wanting to talk about just the feelings that these actors and actresses give you deep inside.
Yes.
It's not really like a comfortable mother-daughter conversation. Not totally, depending on your daughter's age.
Yeah.
So we feel you. And I actually have a segment in our next podcast dedicated just for you.
Ooh, I can't wait.
So stay tuned. Thank you.
I also just want everyone to know, a guy I work with who's a lovely person just texted me while we were podcasting a screenshot of Spotify on Twitter tweeting about BTS Love Yourself Tear is here and we're living. It's like, listen here. And he wrote, this popped up on my Twitter feed. I think the universe is telling me I need to listen to K-pop. And I said, do it now.
Because you are a good friend.
Because I'm here to make people's lives better. Sorry, I had to share that. I'm very excited.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So stay tuned.
Yes.
Megan's going to go on her vacation now.
I'm headed out.
And then when she gets back,
Quick trip.
We have a couple of very funny, specifically themed podcasts
I feel like
that we can't wait to get
we
out
have
to
a
you.
fun summer ahead, so everybody get ready.
We have a lot of great things coming. So,
and
Megan.
Yes, take us out, right?
Yep.
Twitter, please. Okay, again, we can't emphasize enough. We love hearing from you guys. So Twitter, we're at Noona Business, Facebook at Noona Business. You can email us, Becca@NoonaBusiness.com, Megan@NoonaBusiness.com. We will reply to you. I'm sorry, sometimes it takes a long time.
Well, it's my fault because I went on vacation.
And I responded to like 3 and I was like, Becca, I'm exhausted. It's too hard. It's because Becca has a way with words and I'm just like a dope who doesn't have good punctuation. But anyway, what else do we have others? Oh, leave a review on iTunes, on Podbean. You can check us out on YouTube. Becca posts everything up there. Again, everyone say thank you, Becca, for all her hard work because I just talk into a microphone and then go home. So that was beautiful harmony.
I tell you what.
We're amazing. Yeah. What else you got to say, Becca?
I think that's it. So this is our 19th episode. I think. So we have, like I said, a couple fun ones. 20 is going to be fun. Mm-hmm. For 21, Megan, how down would you be for us to drink during the episode?
Oh, done. Yes.
Because we will be of legal drinking age
my God.
episode 21.
Yes. Also, I just bought soju because they were selling soju at our local supermarket, and I was like, I'm going to purchase this.
I have, not that you drink soju out of them, but I have a sake set so we can combine some cultures.
We are going to get sloshed.
Let's do it. It's going to be a great
episode. And by sloshed,
episode.
We're going to get like maybe pleasantly tipsy because that's me and Becca.
We don't really go farther than that.
No.
But we do get a lot more giggly, so we apologize.
I can't wait. This is going to be amazing. I'm in 100%.
So thank you so much. I hope you all have a great week. And once again, as always, thank you for joining us. And we will talk to you soon.